Ameer, you've had a few preseason games to run through with the new kickoff rule. I know you kind of spoke about needing to see it in action and really get a feel for it. What's sort of your first impression of it?
It's very sporadic. I think every team is kind of approaching it a lot, different than what I actually expected. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing. I thought everyone was going to be more aligned, which just takes the preparation to the next level. We have to be ready for anything. So it just adds a more cerebral element to the game.
You think once the games count, teams are still going to be kicking off to you guys, or are they just going to kick it out and say we'll kick it up to 30 and move on?
I'm not sure. I'm fairly confident in the guys we got back there, and then also our team. They understand that as long as they train, we always have a chance to take it the distance. So we'll see.
What gives you the most confidence about this team this season?
Just the way we work. I think our preparation is some of the best I've been around since I've been here. Guys are really focused. Guys understand their role, understand their jobs. And I think that's where we keep our focus. Everyone's not trying to step outside their lanes to make something big happen. We understand that we're all a bunch of pieces coming together to create a puzzle. And I think it's the most cohesive that I've been around.
Ameer, what differences have you seen in Ameer ever since he's kind of accepted this role? Are there many differences at all in his mindset?
Yeah, just decisiveness. I think for a young guy going through so much, coaching change, sometimes it can make you a little indecisive, at times. And I think coming into this year, having a full off season with a coach and now full camp and understanding how we want the run game to go, he's a guy who's going to make the right decisions and do it at full speed. And even if you don't make the right decision, as long as you're decisive a lot of times as a running back, I've seen it work in your favor.
Ameer, I know that everyone's kind of uber focused on their own responsibilities and what they're doing, but you've always said that being able to understand the game of football in a whole has helped you as an individual understanding the game. But do you ever give yourself some time to look at a young player like a Tyreek McAllister who's making this change from wide receiver to running back to wide receiver and kind of appreciate what he's doing and the growth that he's made?
For sure. I think one thing I love about the NFL is every year is a story. It's a story. And I remember when Tyreek came in, he's been a guy that's been a sponge. And he knew it was going to be a big challenge for him to make this team, especially moving from running back to receiver. And Getsy's the type of coach where he doesn't hold anything back. If you're a running back, you may be put in a situation where a tight end typically is, and you're expected to know their job and vice versa. So, there wasn't any babying for him. So to see him answer the call and make some huge plays for us of the night, it's just one of those stories again that you just look back and you're just like, wow, I love the game of football because of it.
He's got speed that shows up
Yeah.
without question. Do you, as a fellow athlete, can you sense that? Can you see that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the things that is always interesting for me. Starting a new year, you get new faces in, you're just trying to figure out what does this guy do well? And I remember the first time Tariq caught a punt return, and it wasn't even a full cover. He just went along his track, and he was just his feet was just kind of like the road runner. I was like, man, that dude can spin, And to see it in live action, it just shows that it translates, And I think that's the word of them.
Ameer, speaking of what guys do well, how does this offense play into what you do well?
I mean, like I said, you can be in a number of positions. You can be out wide, you can be in the backfield, you can be in the slot, you can be motioning a lot, you can be integrated into a lot of different schemes. The screen game, obviously the run game, the pass game, and I tip my hat to Gesty. He really understands how to use guys, and I think it's going to be really interesting once we get everybody healthy and everyone out there, and we kind of find our flow through probably the first 2 to 3 games, I would say. It'll be interesting to see how I get incorporated in the game.
There are guys that line up in the backfield kind of in a fullback role, but there's not like a dedicated fullback on this team. I guess how different is that as a running back to not have that, that usual guy that's a fullback for you?
It's really different for me, especially coming from a similar scheme in Minnesota when I was there, having an all-pro, Pro Bowl, fullback like C.J. Ham for a long time, where you can really rely on the guy to kind of start the path and then clear that path for you. Then having a guy who was a Pro Bowl alternate and Jakob Johnson, the last few years that I was here, So it's a lot different, but I think we do a lot of things with how we move guys around pre-snap and post-snap to kind of supplement for that.
Who are some guys that you think have really embraced special teams? You know, young players coming up that have really been able to make their mark on the team just through that category.
Yeah, I would say Isaiah Palomau. He's a guy he's a leader. You know, anytime he gets on the field, obviously on the defensive side, but special teams wise, he's a guy that I actually look to set the tone a lot of times. DJ Turner, of course, you know, he's a guy who doesn't talk much, but when he's out there, you're expecting big plays, and his motor is just, you can't coach it. And I think anytime you see a guy out there busting his tail like that, it's infectious for a lot of guys. And I've just seen this special teams unit take their play to the next level every single year I've been here. The first year we were good, last year we were really good, and this year I'm expecting us to have a solid team as well. And time just demands it from us, and I think we all just enjoy doing it, you know, because it's no play like a special teams play. It actually takes everyone. You know, sometimes on offense, everything can be covered, then Devontae will go out there and make a one-hand catch. You know, so it's like one guy kind of made that play, but special teams, if you go back and look at that punt return that Tariq actually took to the house, everyone was doing it 111th, and if they weren't, that play would have happened. Of course, he had to do his job to finish off the play, but the special thing about special teams is just how everyone has to come together for it to be successful.
Great, thanks,
When
Ameer.
sorry, when you said every year is a story, it kind of reminded me of you know, your outside interest a little bit outside of football. What is the best thing that you watched this offseason? Anything that we should be watching?
Man, I'm writing a lot. I'm actually writing my first feature film right now, so I don't really watch too much when I'm writing. So I actually didn't watch anything this offseason just because I don't want to get too influenced by one thing.
How much progress have you made on that?
I'm in the third act. If you are familiar with screenplay,
How many pages?
99.
Yeah.
It's not-
What's it about?
I'm not gonna share that.
Can't put that out in the universe.